Hi everyone. My name is Lilian Baro. I'm a bit anxious, but what's your view, or rather, what will you advise when we finish school the same way? We are told to go to school to perform and go to the university. Right now, especially, university is an option. Like, you have to go to the university. Then when you go to the university, we hear stories from you people, great stories, the way you got to AAR, then Isuzu and all. But we thought, okay, that's what we hear, and we think that's what we are going to expect. But rather, from my example, I got to another space of employment because, we need to still learn the skills. And I got to the employment, and I found a very different story from what I hear, where it's not all merry. It's where it's a bit toxic. There's no growth. Probably even the payment is terrible. How you're treated is really terrible. And now you're stuck in between the fact that right now getting a job in Kenya for us, it's quite very hard. Yeah, you're stuck where you can see even the people you graduated with don't have jobs. Others, your friends, are getting good jobs, and you're stuck there. And also, the everyone around is just telling you, unajua venye kupata kazi ni ngumu, and you're stuck there, and this place is toxic. Rather, you even changing your character by being there. What's your take? Is it like someone is just giving up, or rather, they're saying the Gen Z, but rather, yeah, we say the world is beautiful, but at the same time, the truth of the matter, there's the ugly part of it. Yeah, that's my question.
So, just to bring it home, what exactly is the question?
What's your take to so many people? Because when I got to the employment, there are those people who are just trying to survive because we've said there's black tax, probably others have a family to feed. So they're stuck to because they can't progress in their career because they...
So should they leave employment or not? That's a question. Because of the toxic environment.
Yeah. And plus, should they leave? But then also, we are told to...
say there is no employment.
There's no employment.
The lack of employment bit. So the dilemma, you're asking a question,
Yeah,
how do you deal with this dilemma?
About, yeah. Be my guest.
Wow. There's always this feeling like the next season is always going to be greener than the one that you're in. When you are in school, you are like, man, school is so tough. I look forward to the time I start working. Then you get to working, then you're like, man, this work life, just working like donkeys. I don't like my work. I don't even want to go to work.
Adulting is a scam.
Then you're like, when you're working, you're like, I look forward to retirement. The day I'll just sit and just put my legs up and watch Netflix, and money is coming into my bank account, passive income. Then you get to retirement, you're like, man, I wish I was working. Those days I used to have money, now I don't have the cash. For me, that whole story scares me because a lot of us, when we live like that, then life tends to bypass us. Because you always live for the next season and you never really live the current season. So, first and foremost, hanging out with billionaires. One thing that I learned, billionaires are comfortable with problems. They've accepted that life is full of challenges. And by the way, you cannot even compare the challenges you are describing here with the challenges that Dr. Chris Kirubi was facing. The kind of challenges we have here and the kind of challenges that are on the table of maybe Dr. James Moria. If he tells you his story, you'll be like, man, let me just stay down here and earn my small salary. I'm good. You see, there's a saying that goes like, to whom much is given, much is required. So first and foremost, my advice to all of you, please be present. Enjoy your current season. If you get a job and your job is just to wash toilets, and guys are messing up those toilets, but that's your current job, do it. Even put flowers inside there and use your money to buy perfume, and guys come into those toilets, they're like, man, I can't even spoil this. The standards here, I just have to leave it as the way I found it, because whoever is doing this job is really doing it like it is a CEO. Him is the CEO himself. Then once you give yourself completely to your current season, you exert yourself, then the season also starts giving back to you. Are we together? There is a concept, a biblical concept that is called place and promotion. Place and promotion. First of all, you need to find the place for you to find your promotion. The problem, the way our education system has set us up, and even that song, so many vijana
muongeze pia bidii, mwisho wa kusoma
mtapata kazi nzuri sana. Okay, this generation knows nothing about it. We have left this generation behind.
Okay, so
we are archaic, man.
That's all we used to hear every day.
Every day when you wake up,
Yeah, morning hour, 6 a.m. Radio. Turn on the radio.
There was another one, the Jembe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So anyway.
Amka kumekucha.
Yani, you know
Shika jembe na panga.
Twende shamba. Hata wewe karani.
Amka kumekucha.
Kwani ndio saa.
Something.
Man, those songs, they were to brainwash us, I think.
Yeah, proper.
That the only way to succeed in life was to go to school, become number 1 or number 2, then you get the best job, and then when you get the best job, you get a good life. It really set us up for employment, and that's why I think we have a problem of unemployment, because nobody could think about creating jobs other than being
employed.
So the thing is this, it's so important that you find the right place. Don't even think about money first. First of all, find the right place. What is the right place like for me? A good place, if I was in my 20s, it's a small business. A small business will give you exposure everywhere. I mean, if you're in Goshen or Nabo right now, and unfortunately we're also growing, you'll get to touch almost everything. You get to have a view of how things are going, what's going on in marketing. Even if you're in finance, you can't touch on many things. So for me, first of all, places, find the place. Ask yourself, are you in the right place? And don't feel like you're limited because others are not finding jobs. We've just discussed here how to pitch yourself, right? How do you stand out? How do you make yourself noticeable? It is so easy. I remember Solo, one of our first meetings, me and you told me something that I'll never forget, that if in this market, if you are doing things in an excellent fashion, you almost have no competition. I never forget that.
Yes, you don't even need to innovate.
You don't even need to innovate.
To be excellent. Yeah, just be excellent.
That was so profound. Imagine how many CVs that Solo gets. And a guy is just come from university, but he has a CV of 5 pages. Me, I'm the CEO of Namo Capital. I've worked for over like 20 years. My CV is 1 page. How do you stand out? You can't stand out like that.
Yeah.
You can't stand out like that. You've got to understand the market and then position yourself to stand on top of everybody else. So there's a lot of, don't remove that thing that they're no jobs. They are jobs. They are jobs. Plenty of jobs. Then now it's about, once you have that, now it's about finding the right place. When you find the right place, exert yourself completely. But even before you find the right place, where you are, make sure you give more than is required, that they will miss you when you're not there. Me being an investor, there's something I've always told my teams throughout the years. Always make sure you're an undervalued employee. Always make sure you are an undervalued employee, meaning they are not paying you enough. The kind of value you bring to the table is so much that you give so low a headache when he goes home. He's like, man, I think I'm underpaying this chick. I'm underpaying this guy. And he is now trying to resolve the issue. So I think we can agree, we have very few people who give us those headaches.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. The problem is that everybody comes, they just stick in the average side. They deliver what they're supposed to deliver. They never give more than what they should give. So you end up being in that toxic environment, and you're part of the toxic because you give minimum. But if you give more than what is required, you have enough to keep you busy, that you're in a toxic environment, but you don't realize you're in a toxic environment. Change can start with you. That's what I'm saying.
I'm really happy to hear you end that way, because that's where I was going to start. Having just listening to you, I would say, first of all, forget what's happening externally. True or not is immaterial. What's going on inside you? You know what I mean? Because all you're seeing is negative. And I'll be candid with you, because you came for a reason. You've taken time out of your Friday to be here, so I know it matters to you. If all you're seeing is negativity and toxicity and limited opportunity and this, that, or the other, at some point you need to step back and deal with inside. Yeah? Even if it means you walk away from the job, especially if it's toxic. The Jewish rabbi I used to listen to a lot, I learned a lot of wisdom from this guy. He said something about talking about general Jewish mentality, and it goes back to Pius's favorite book, the Bible. In Genesis chapter 1, God, in the beginning,
God.
Yeah. So it has to start with him. That alone will kill 90% of your problems. It sounds like a simplistic thing to say, but it's absolutely true. Because you stop leaning on yourself and you lean on him. And this is a very difficult thing to tell to people who maybe don't know God or don't believe in God. But if we're going to address things honestly from our personal perspectives, it's going to come up, right? But even the way he created the natural order that we live in, first day, he said, light be.
Let there be light.
Yeah. Light was. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. Second day, he created, there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. If you go and read, and I encourage you to do so, you'll notice that all 6 days started with evening and ended with morning. which screws with our mentality in a modern day because we start with morning. But God created evening first, then morning, which is why the Jewish day starts at 6 p.m. What time is it now?
1600.
If you call anyone in Israel today, or you ask a Jew here today, they'll tell you that Saturday, the 26th of November,
It's just begun.
no, we'll start in 1 hour and 43 minutes at 6 p.m. today. Because they've maintained that calendar. You start with rest, as opposed to ending with rest. You know, us, we rest because we're tired. Whereas God's system was you start with rest and you finish. And you finish because it's finished, not because you're tired. That ideology revolutionized my life in terms of my approach to life. I always prefer to start from a place of rest. If I'm not at peace or feeling rested, I will not do a deal. It doesn't matter how good it looks. I need to be at peace. I don't like to hang around people who like strife and gossip, and you know, this people you sit next to and you just feel the tension even before they open their mouths.
It's draining you.
I exit immediately. I don't, because I understand this dynamic, and the whole natural, physical, material universe was created to follow this cycle. From a place of rest, you produce. And he put it this way. If you stand up and then someone told you to touch that ceiling without bending your knees, would you be able to? No one has enough propulsion just from their toes to go up. What do? You squat down first, then you propel yourself higher. And you're saying this is a cycle of nature. It starts with rest, you go down, you humble yourself, then you shoot up higher. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And this approach will be very helpful for you in your work environment in terms of the toxicity. If you're feeling vibes are off, the energy is like, if you can't change it, just leave or take a break at least. And if it's not possible for you to take a break because maybe you have obligations that require that paycheck and blah, 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 I understand. But the more the reason for you to deal with your internal situation, like what's going on in here, because not everything in the world is negative. In fact, in the midst of all the negativity is the greatest opportunity. It's just that you can't see it because of the lens you're looking through. The world's greatest fortunes were always made in times of the greatest crisis. Just study history. Look at our recent one. The last time the world was in the crisis we just went through with COVID was 1918, 1920. The flu pandemics, much like COVID. That led to the Great Depression, where the world's greatest fortunes were made during the Depression by certain individuals. Look at COVID. You don't even need to go that far. Do you know how many billionaires have been created?
Out of COVID.
Out of COVID, good or bad. In Kenya, we have the famous COVID billionaires. They stole. But in the middle of that nonsense, someone saw an opportunity to make a fortune. Others did it the right way. Pharmaceutical companies, biggest winners of the last 2 years globally. Stock prices went up because everyone has to take vaccines that they are manufacturing, right? Masks were created, manufactured in China. Do you have any idea how many billions the Chinese have collected from the rest of us over the last 2 years? Even locally, the guys who are bringing the containers of masks, sanitizers. The point is, in the middle of all that mess, there is opportunity.
Yeah.
But you have to be clear enough inside and still enough inside to see it so you can capitalize.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you need help if you need help, reach out. Personally, I'm happy to help any way I can in terms of rationalizing what that looks like. But just having listened to you express that, I hear a lot of frustration, a lot of pain, and that has to start with you. Yeah, because regardless of what goes on out here, if you're okay in here, you'll be fine. You'll find a way. You'll be able to add value, like you're saying. Put flowers in the toilet that people are soiling as you clean. You can't do that if you're not okay in here. And I promise you, one of two things will happen if you do that. Number one, the environment around you will see you and promote you, or it'll spit you out. And if it does spit you out, wherever you're ending up is way better. But it can't stay the same. But it starts with you.
In fact, there is a saying, peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is calmness in the midst of chaos. So it's like you're in a bubble.
That's when it makes sense,
Yeah,
right? Like, what's the point of peace if
there
there's
will
no chaos?
always be chaos. Even when you find the place that really suits you, there's always going to be chaos, because human beings are human beings and they are not perfect. But in the midst of that chaos, you must have peace within yourself that the external environment cannot change. And that's what oozes out of you. When people are sad, you're oozing with goodness. Yeah. So I would encourage anyone who is listening to this and would like to know more. I had a very challenging time in Toyota, but I was so consumed in my peaceful cocoon that I was not even aware how many people were fighting me. But eventually, because I was oozing a lot of peace, everybody who was fighting me eventually converged towards me and we became very good friends. The thing is this, no one is really bad. It's just that everybody is fighting their own battle from their own corner, and you don't really have to judge them. But if you really just, if you are just oozing good, you will also receive good. Eventually. It may not be immediate. Wow, Solo, that was an amazing conversation. It didn't go the way I expected it.
It was very heavy. I need lunch.
You need lunch.
Yeah.
We are hungry. All the batteries have been exhausted. We've exhausted batteries, you know. So, I mean, we just want to say thank you so much, our audience. You guys have really charged us up. You know, when you're watching football in a live stadium, is very different from watching it on TV, because you just feel the place. You guys have made us to feel the place. You've been so energetic. Your question, they've really racked up our minds. And thank you so much. And those guys who are watching, thank you so much for watching us. It is a privilege for anyone to devote their time to watch what we have to say. As Solo and I say, we are not like the most qualified people. As guys, we're just trying to do some good to someone. And we just hope that there is something we have said that will change your life. But most important, thank you for even listening to us. And we still have a lot more that we want to hear from you. Please, there is a comment section right down there. Please post your comments, post your questions. Just engage us. Don't feel restrained in any way to engage us. We are here for you. We are here to serve you. Thank you so much. And my name is Pius Muchiri.
Indeed, much more coming. Stay tuned. Make sure you share this with your friends and your loved ones. And we look forward to sharing more tea with you. And I'm Solomon Wangwe.